Hey everyone, thank you for joining us. Here's Future Podcast. Is with you, your hosts Aaron and myself Mahat. So we just had a conversation about mental health, about consciousness, about how evolution and how what else did we talk about? It evolution,
Nutrition,
how nutrition, food.
technology,
We talk what
technology,
technology, economy, uh,
and
and
link all of it together somehow.
yeah. I mean, it was a very flowing conversation. So I felt good talking, and yeah, I hope you have a good time listening also.
Yep. Hope you enjoyed this episode.
How have you been recently? Mental health. What have you
Good,
been doing?
good. Even though it's just been 3 days since I started taking the supplements, I feel considerably better. Like the most tangible way for me to explain it is usually for me to wake up, it's like equivalent to me pushing a boulder up a mountain.
Mhm.
But today,
Wait,
especially
supplements,
today,
you mean vitamins, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially today, being my weekend, it's usually more difficult for me to like get up and like do something useful with my day. Useful, I don't mean necessarily work, but just like maybe home stuff or just I don't know entertainment, something, anything.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so today I literally woke up and there was no self doubt, there was no questioning. Like I literally woke up and like I just got up and I drank water. I
You're on
brushed
a
my
mission.
teeth. Yeah, literally just flow started. So that I was like amazing, and that too it was like at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 or 6.
I don't know. I told you the other day, right? Like I woke up by mistake
Yeah,
one day morning, like earlier than my usual time,
yeah.
and then for some reason, like I was feeling, like you said, like very energetic,
Mm,
down to finish stuff, start the day,
mm.
all that. I don't know. That's strange. I don't know. Maybe I'm a morning person. I'm still.
Figuring it out.
I don't know if it's a seasonal thing even.
Mm.
What if it's just fluctuating? Sometimes I'm
So, what sort of supplements have you been prescribed, or is it prescribed, or is it like self-medicated?
me. It's a self medication. In fact, like it's just vitamin D because uh, my brother, he's a doctor, so he prescribed it. So in a way, it's monitored. Uh, because I migrated from India to UK, here we get less sunshine, so the intensity is lower.
Mm,
So you naturally will have lower vitamin deficient, I mean, vitamin D in your body.
mm,
So it's good to take vitamin D, as supplements. But it's also like good to take multivitamins once a while because sometimes you may not be eating properly. Like it's not like you should take it, like we eat cookies, but it's okay to take it once in a while. And like you said, yeah, it does feel better. Maybe it could be placebo. I don't know, but anyway, I feel better sometimes. Like
yeah. I'm
eating
just,
food is crucial.
yep. Hopefully, I'm getting better at that. How are you with your diet? How are you with
I
cooking?
am, I am, I am better. Lots better than like I was in a worse place with regards to my diet. But now I am eating more regularly, eating more veggies. You know, because here it's another thing that you have, even though you have a lot of variety of food to choose from.
Mm,
Uh, I don't know. There's this you get used to like a certain breakfast in the morning, especially breakfasts. So you feel tired. I mean, a lot of you can probably relate with what I'm saying. Um, you don't feel like having breakfast. So, but then you have the cereal. So there is just few options that is easy for you to make. So that makes you skip the meal sometimes, and
mm.
then you have a brunch that is sometimes too heavy, and then so it was a point of disorder. But now I am like more planned in a better space with more veggies and stuff.
And do you feel like are you still building the habit, or do you feel like it's become more or less part of your routine?
I am building it on the way,
Okay.
but it's okay. It's not too bad. Like you said earlier, like, if you nail a recipe or something, feel good. There's some dopamine rush in there, right? So cooking is nice. You feel like a little god sometimes. Creation. No.
Lasagna was
What
kind of
about you?
just,
You and your health
I know that's a very
with the
controversial
diet. You just said lasagna. I mean, how was that? Doesn't
lasagna.
sound healthy, but sounds tasty.
I don't know. I haven't evaluated health. It has a lot of cheese for sure. Um, but also personally, I don't have a high, um, I don't know if I should say cheese diet or dairy rich diet. Um, so it's okay. I think it's personally okay for me to have it. And also, like I chose to make lasagna because it just popped in my head around 2 or 3 weeks back that I want to make it, and it also,
Italian in you.
sorry,
The Italian. The Italian in you.
yeah, I guess I've always had a fascination for lasagna. Maybe it's like the way it's pronounced. It sounds so
Lasagna.
funky.
Remember PewDiePie's song, Bitch Lasagna.
I don't know that. I don't watch
Oh,
PewDiePie that
oh
much.
man. How am I your friend? How did we become friends?
Chance.
Yeah, but anyway, basically, yeah, food is a huge part. I mean, it plays a really big part in our mental health also. So, how much nutritious you keep your body and the energy level that you have, it really
I'm not
has an effect.
PewDiePie.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Hey, you forced me.
No.
Subscribe.
Okay. Yeah, so I was saying about food and nutrition and mental health.
Yeah.
So you brought back PewDiePie.
What are some of his? Has he spoken about health and diet, and what is that?
I mean, in my opinion, he seems like a YouTuber who's very genuine. He doesn't really go beyond a level to, do stuff or get attention. He's being as normal as one can be in front of the camera. So I think I have seen some videos where he's working out, like he shows his gym and equipment, and it's like a very small setup for a person like him, who's like the biggest YouTube creator. I mean, you would expect a huge house with gym and all, but this guy just has a small home workout kit, and so I don't know. He's a different kind of person, I feel. So, but yeah, he also like promotes reading and all sometimes. So he sticks to what he likes sometimes to show people. So even though it might not be like the gamer, a book review from a gamer is so away. But
Yeah. So
yeah,
I.
it seems like very rounded
Okay.
character, YouTube, at least in the channels, as far as we know.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he spends a considerable portion of his time online. So more or less, what we see online should be a representative of. Can't conclude.
And yeah, I mean, I got this point. I mean, I did think of it like the eating food is not. I mean, not eating food is affecting my mental health. Uh, and I did go in for a therapy session like last month. So that is also where I got professional telling me that it really matters, even though it's something that you can probably understand with common sense, that if you don't eat well, you won't feel good. But it helps hearing it from someone who's in the actual shoes of a counselor. So in my university, that was a really big what do you say? It's a big it's a need that all universities back in India or wherever, they should provide to students, help if they want mental help. There should be a platform where they can reach out. Um, and it was just nothing that meeting. She was just helping me think and how to go about like utilizing my time and bringing some order to my life, and how to schedule things, how to find energy when you don't feel like doing anything. And I was also telling her like how I don't feel like getting out of my bed sometimes, like very low on energy center. So I think I shared it with you, but for anybody listening, uh, so she was like, take small steps. If you're in the bed and you don't want to get up, think of it like, you want to get up and just open the curtain, get back in bed. So, and then again, you get down, I don't know, just turn the lights on, get back in bed, like do small stuff and get back wherever you're feeling comfortable. So, small, it's a very small advice, but I think that helped me also, like, help think better or make a move. Um, so reaching out to someone, that was really hard.
Mhm.
The first step is hard, but when you need it, there's always a stigma around mental health. So, which is another reason why we decided to cover this topic today. Um, and maybe, I don't know, I hope I'm not oversharing stuff for any of you listeners. But it's good to talk. It's good to open up, share your feelings. Uh, and another thing that person who counseled me told was that, like, it's so funny how we rush to the doctor if you have a slight cut or something, a slight fever, and you don't hesitate. But your mind is like a big thing. It's a big part of who you are, what you are. And then if you don't feel mentally good, and then you're like hesitating to take help, that's not really doesn't really make sense. So do not hesitate. Reach out to people, talk to your friends, and especially students. Me being one. I mean, I'm putting it myself out there. What are your thoughts, Aaron? I
Um,
see you're like,
so like I was going through a video that was talking about mental health. It was by a student. I think she's a student. The channel is related to New York University, and in that she mentioned how there are certain cultures which does not even have a word to describe mental health, and that
oh,
yeah. So that got me thinking right now. Maybe it's that it's not that we don't put focus on it, or um, we are avoiding it and we're stigmatizing the issue. Maybe it's like literally a new area that we're discovering, and we're just coming to understand its importance, and coming to understand its importance, and therefore we are giving it more time, we're giving it more space. Um,
yeah,
Again, we will need someone to back up this hypothesis. Like maybe in the times of our parents, um, they didn't have the time or the thought, the bandwidth in their head to think about their mental sanity. Uh, Maybe it was about other conditions.
it's. I mean, talking about older generations, like, and how their perspective is different. Um, I I think we had a conversation about this the other day. Like the cultures where they were looking at, where they had shamans in these ancient cultures, tribal societies. So shamans were basically individuals who were considered special in the tribe. So they would normally be given some roles in the society, like maybe a religious leader, or generally they were also considered to be the healers.
Mm-hmm.
So we read this article where we'll try to link that, where it said that uh, because there was no stigma associated with mental health or uh, more specifically schizophrenia, right? It was about, yeah. So schizophrenia, they had this a social role that was not, that is not a bad thing. So, and eventually this role of the shaman or the healer ironically evolved into the psychiatrist, who was actually studying mind in the modern sense. But in the ancient times, there was this more positive or not a negative term, as a negative image associated with conditions like schizophrenia, which might have helped, those who were suffering from that, in those times. So things are changing across generations, across cultures. What that video, like, could you find it probably, like, where someone was talking? Maybe we can link that.
Yeah, sure. I have it.
Mm. So creativity, and we are also reading about creativity, evolution, and mental illness, how these are all linked.
Also, like, I just want to share some stats. Like, let me see if I can pull up the page to just share it.
No, in that meantime, I got some quotes from some papers that I read today.
Okay.
And one Nettle, E. Nettle, he says in his article, Strong Imagination, Madness, Creativity, and Human Nature. He says madness is viewed as the central mystery of the human psyche. Madness. So it was about how madness and creativity could be linked.
I haven't
So,
explored this. Like, I haven't felt it, or like, I haven't spoken to someone who's
me
been
neither. Like,
level. So it sounds like a foreign concept to me. Madness is linked to what? What does that imply?
so I did, like, yesterday after we decided on this topic. So yesterday I was having this conversation with my sister. So she is a doctor. She's into neuroscience. That's a passionate field. So we were having this conversation and talking about how our brain has undergone like very little evolution, down these ages. If you, because I was asking her about how uh, in one paper I read that even though it is considered unfit, that mental illness is not ideal. Why is it? So why is it still present in humans? Like, why hasn't evolution, like, perfected that? Uh, so so she was like, it's not about whether it's not really fair to look at it as unfit, you know, mental illness, because our brain as an organ has undergone like very little evolution, like from the time that we got to this form, like in the Neanderthal man and onwards. So, but when we look at our skin, it has undergone a lot of evolution, a lot of change. So there has to be an external uh, effect on. Usually, in cases of evolution, it's always because of external factors like friction. We start wearing clothes, and so constantly your skin is losing that self. And she was talking about how women can testify to this, like how they wax their skin, and after like years of waxing and their cells, the hair just stops growing. So that's like you are triggering the skin cells enough that they stop repairing. So the replacement is lower than the rate of death for those cells. So evolution, when you look at it, it's our brain is still in the same form basically. It hasn't undergone much change, and I'm not able to like paraphrase or do justice to the interesting conversation we had. But maybe we can like have her on board someday. Should probably look at that.
Did you speak to her about that?
No, not yet.
Okay. That was kind
Yeah,
of
I mean, there was this one point that I wanted to finish about it. I just remembered. So she was telling how our social inhibitions, like our society deems us to, act in a certain way. So, so that, so that social pressure to, not act in a certain way has been a very huge limiting factor in our creativity as a species. You know, so there is
I agree.
there could have been a lot more different more creative ideas out there if it were not for our social stigma and the shame associated with being different. I think that was a really interesting point that
Did you
she
have a
had to
chance?
say.
Did you have a chance to talk to her about why there is that pressure, or why we are so averse to change or difference as humans as a whole? Or what are your thoughts if you haven't spoken to her about it?
But changing,
Why? I mean, okay, wait, I'll just say it like fear, right? Afraid of the unknown. When you get comfortable and you see something that's different or someone that's different who operates in a different way, it threatens your way of life. It requires a certain level of courage to accept that.
I mean, change is always challenging. If you look at the body's basic way itself, like don't want to change in a like you're in a comfortable if you're in a comfortable space, that is, of course. um, but yeah, I mean, it takes courage. Gotta take the dive sometimes and then go with the flow. I mean, I mean, I don't know why are we afraid of change. Cut this bit, I'm out.
I don't want to go down that hole. There was
Yeah.
another interesting thing that that you mentioned, which is the evolution is usually due to external factors, external
Mhm.
stimuli, and that's something that has kind of bothered me and kind of driven me mad at the same time, because that kind of makes me feel like I have no control. Like if everything that I do is because of external stimulus, um, so where does my voice come to play? Like where do my decisions count? So in the
Think,
same way, if we're talking about evolution, what is it that the brain wants? Like how does it want to evolve? To catch my drift.
I get it, but uh, I don't think brain. Oh,
Brain,
are you
like,
asking like what if we can direct our evolution in a way? Or are you saying you don't want to? Are you saying that you don't want to be a part of the natural evolution and evolution's course? You think saying that you don't have a say in what's happening, or is that
no,
what you're saying?
no. The external stimuli thing is just my sense of feeling like I lack control, and my desperate need to feel like I have control, and that like aversion towards anything external and trying to be my own guide. That's something that I tried to do for a very long time. But what I was trying to like, yeah, the I guess there are two layers to that. Like one is if we can consciously um, choose to evolve the way we want to, and then there's the subconscious, which is I mean, I guess that becomes a whole black hole. Like we might not know what's exactly in the subconscious, We don't know if we are the only entity controlling that subconscious, or whether it has a mind of its own, whether it's operating on its own terms. So does it want to evolve in its own way? So
There is this TED talk that I watched where this professor, my God, I can't remember his name, where he says how subconscious could be. His name is Graham Hancock. Okay, Graham Hancock. So he gives a talk. For some reason, it was banned. So it's a interesting video about the fight,
that's
the
bad.
war for human consciousness,
Okay.
where he is exploring how ancient Mayans used this drug called ayahuasca, which was a tea that is brewed with leaves of a plant, which is a sacred ritual in their culture, and how that took people to an elevated state of consciousness, and it's a religious ritualistic process apparently, and how the point that I was going to say was how it could be that the modern science looks at consciousness um, as a signal, like there's this thing, it has life, our body has life, and once the uh, once we die, our consciousness dies with us. But then it's a very interesting talk, but when I take it out of context and just say the sentence, you might think it's like, that's crazy. But he says that what if it is also that there is a wider network, and we are just like the TV, and consciousness is like the signal, you know.
Mm.
And once the TV is broken, but the signal is still there.
What is his name? Like, I feel like this is literally something that I've heard before.
Graham Hancock. Uh, it's a very interesting lecture about how our modern economy hates altered states of consciousness and consciousness altering drugs, which could be caffeine as well, or any of the painkillers, or including painkillers and all the standard drugs. All of them are mind altering substances, but how the modern world has a modern economic system has this um, motive to keep us on a problem solving monkey level of consciousness, so that we are efficient workers. But this hasn't led our world in a right way, because look at all the pollution, all the environmental destruction, and that this conscious mind of our human species as a whole is doing to the planet. How we are so away from the ideal, because we are choosing to regulate some drugs and criminalize some other, because we favor some states of consciousness but we don't like the other, which might be sometimes creative, sometimes uh, not the problem solving one that is good for the capitalistic system. So he's a really interesting speech. I've paraphrased like as much as I could remember, but like he also talks about how this has like how it has enabled us as a species, like go for wars, bomb countries, kill people, use all these resources for things like that. But we can't yet solve world hunger or poverty, all these issues. We are going like living more in tune with nature. We are not able to take that decision as a species, you know. So that is a really interesting speech. I love that. Let's link that down.
I'll try to find that. It's kind of related to what you said. Uh, there was this guest. His name was Donald Hoffman. Is he the same person you're saying? No, right? You said
No,
George.
no, no. Graham Hancock.
So this guy talks about physics, and he says that the way that we're thinking about space-time is wrong, um, in the sense that it's so complex, and maybe I didn't put in the best effort of concentrating and understanding what he was trying to say, but I'll try to explain what I've understood. Like I think our current form of thinking about space and time, it's like, think of it like a sheet of paper. Like
Mhm.
to travel from here to here, you need to literally go through the matter. And what he was proposing, and this is the example that I remember, which was basically like we might make the discovery that allows us to, like, we don't have to traverse through this plane. We can pick ourselves and go here.
Yeah.
Uh, and obviously, this sounds almost stupid when I'm saying it, but just listen. I'll link the video, that episode below.
I've come across this demonstration showing that idea, like simplifying that, like you said, like it's a paper, point A, point B, point A to B, like you throw the plane. But then he says,
You
I
fold
don't
the
know who.
fold the
Yeah,
sheets.
yeah, fold it and like you can just take this route.
Uh,
So
he sounded very convinced that, wow, great. S&P 500 reaches another trading low. Wow.
what?
No, the bear markets, S&P
Okay.
500 US markets reached another low. So
Market's crashing, boys.
um, yeah, so he sounded very convinced in his belief. So obviously, I'm nowhere near qualified to qualify what he's speaking about. The most that I can do is link everybody interested. I can kind of direct you towards that. And also, there was in that episode, he referred to another professor who teaches at Harvard, I believe.
Hmm.
And there's an entire series of his lecture published as a playlist on YouTube. I started the first lecture. I think I got through just like 15 to 20 minutes, and it kind of slipped out of my mind right now. So this is a good reminder for me to go back to it. I'll link that as well. It should go into more detail of what that physicist was trying to talk about. And the other topic that I wanted to speak about was how, like earlier when I said that perhaps in our parents or earlier generations, mental health was not that much part of the conversation because um, maybe they didn't have the mental bandwidth to think about mental health. But I think another aspect to it is like perhaps at that time a lot of value was tied to physical objects, like literally speaking, how a currency was pegged to
Hmm.
basically. And right now, obviously, our currency is linked to nothing except that we create policies and um, we create, yeah, exactly, trust. And it's becoming more intangible, and there are a lot of skeptics, but in the angle that I'm speaking, and in the hopes that we start trusting our conscious and our innate natural senses and instincts, it could lead to interesting things. And maybe that's like the sense of security, the sense of development that this economic system that we have right now, like I think the luxury that this economic system has given us should be unprecedented, right? I don't know if, I mean, I don't think that
Definitely unprecedented.
nothing like this has existed in history. So nothing like this existed in history.
But it also depends on what you always what we consider to be advanced, or also depends on what we consider as ideal, right? What where we want to be. Of course, I'm not saying that we are not advanced than the Greeks or Romans, or we definitely are. We are like interplanetary travel is there now. Uh, that apparently is a natural progression of species, like to spread to as many planets as possible, according to like science. According to science. Yeah, so there's a drive for us to survive, so to preserve ourselves, so we do tend to spread to other planets and moons. So we are advanced, but I feel like, I mean, there is so much missing technology that if we could somehow like document, if we had a continued history of as a species, if cultures hadn't been wiped out, if some texts hadn't been like fashioned, out fashioned, like because another one came, maybe some had better benefits that we couldn't see at that point, but then it fell out of use. If we had all those tech, like there are still like mysterious construction techniques. Even in India, there is El Ajanta Ellora caves. One of this ancient Buddhist shrine is carved out of a rock.
Where in India?
So Maharashtra. So it's a cave. It's a whole rocky mountain that they carved out to make a temple. So it's like, taking a small rock and carving. Imagine how hard that is, and then just scale it up to that sizes, and it is unbelievable if you look at how it's also like it's a huge engineering marvel, like it's a mystery. Even like there are conspiracy theorists who say this is one of their favorites, that aliens were helping those civilizations to construct that. So because we don't have enough evidence of how they did it.
I mean, maybe we don't. Obviously I haven't looked into it. That's interesting. We can check that out.
I'm just checking.
Do you think it could be as simple as it naturally existed, a cavity, or do you think explosives existed back then?
Explosives, definitely. The Chinese apparently found it, discovered. They're credited with
Gunpowder?
the invention, but that's what I don't know. We don't know. Like, can only always,
Speculate.
yeah. Largest single monolithic rock excavation in the world. Look at this. This was all like carved out of the mountain. Look at this. This is what I'm saying. There are like other caves, other temples like this, but this one stands out because they carved out the entire mountain. The other temples are all like inside caves, like basically, see, like they dug into the mountain, and so it's just a small entrance, but the inside will be like elaborated. This one stands out because of the effort. The reason why it's a wonder, I think it's because the time period, I think, is like really close. It's like they should have had some tech to finish that work in such a short time. I don't know, or it could be like a cruel dictator, and enough workers.
Right, sorry, could you repeat? Dictator.
I mean, it could as well be a cruel dictator or some king, and with enough workers and deaths, probably. Who knows? I'm starting a conspiracy theory now, I guess. So this is all we have, like conspiracy theories and speculation. We have come a long way from consciousness, mental health.
There is like We need some experts on this. Like, I would love to explore, like we can picture our brain as a sort of a tree, like the roots and then the leaves. So, like, how does the nutrients enrich our brains? How does that affect everything? Oh yeah, so you said I was actually excited when you said when you brought up the ayahuasca and what were you trying to say? Consciousness, right? The different way of thinking instead of capitalism.
Yeah.
That sounded very beautiful to me. Uh, I think we'll have to I think what we need to do is like bring more, like the percentage of how we operate as a world needs to incorporate a little bit more mysticism and intangible stuff. But I think the tangible is still very important because
Yeah. I mean,
otherwise, I think you can get lost in your own brain. So unless
that's
we,
what it's so mysterious. So let's see if we can get my sister, Dr. Arya. Let's see if she. I didn't tell her name earlier. So let's see if she's interested
Cool.
to speak about brain and consciousness. So yeah, I guess that's about it to the listeners. I hope you have a good day, and if you're not feeling good mentally, take small steps. Reach out to people, talk to your friends. Don't hesitate to take help. Good. Yeah,
I
it's
personally would go so far as to say you can reach out to me, or if Mahat wants, he can say if he wants to.
yeah, sure.
Our Instagram pages are linked below. If you ever feel like you need someone to talk to, you can literally speak to us if you want to. Um, yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
take care and hit that subscribe if you haven't,
Yeah.
and
We are gonna
like good.
we're gonna continue making more interesting episodes. We're gonna continue to invite interesting guests. We're gonna continue to expand our knowledge base and your knowledge base, and we're gonna do
You know, it might not be a lot at this point because but the reason why we started it was like so that we both learn a little, and it's also like a fresh take. How would a fresh topic look to someone who doesn't know anything about it? So we just do that research and present to you how it is going, like in it's just beginner research, but to a fresh mind, how does it look? That's what we are presenting in our page, I guess. So I don't know, let's see.
Yep.
Thank you for listening if you made it this far.
Bye bye.